Good morning, everybody, and it is a great delight to introduce today's speaker. Teddy Burriss is a LinkedIn strategist, a trainer, a coach. He's been delivering LinkedIn training and coaching programs since early 2010, so over 11 years. And as you know, LinkedIn keeps changing and keeps getting more complicated to use successfully. So Teddy is one of those people who stays on top of it and can help it be understandable to the rest of us. He uses it as a business tool. He uses strategic planning sessions, corporate training and coaching programs, public speeches, virtual workshops, training, one-to-one coaching, all kinds of ways to help his clients use LinkedIn for business. Teddy comes with a great background in training from Toastmasters, Sandler training, Dale Carnegie coaching, DDI leadership facilitating, networking, certified social media strategy, all kinds of ways to help him bring the message to you of the best uses of LinkedIn. He comes to us from North Carolina, has been operating out of Winston-Salem, but he serves people all over the globe. Let me please join me in a warm welcome for Teddy Burriss on how to connect with the right people. Welcome, Teddy.
All right. Thank you, Marsha. I appreciate it. And Carol was all excited about North Carolina. And so, hey, you know, one of the best ways to have a human engagement is to turn your camera on. So we got 26,000 people on this call today, divide by 1,000, but I only see a few of you. Thank you, Sig. You know, I mean, it's the best way to have a real engagement is to turn your camera on, and do not worry about how you look. Look at this. Yeah. And it showed up. It's 63 freaking years old today. And I know that numbers don't make any difference. 63 years yesterday, Bill. My birthday was yesterday, and I'll tell you why that's significant in this conversation. So yeah, turn your camera on, say hi to people, smile to people. It is way more fun than having your camera turned off with your, because it's human to human engagement. So, look, I'm not going to share a lot on the screen. I did not put together a slide deck. And Marsha, if we may, is it okay for me to ask to allow people to unmute themselves if they want to engage? You know, raise your hand. I'm going to watch the participant thing. Raise your hand. I want people to engage and in very specific areas in the conversation. And we will go to a breakout room in not too short order. So is that okay, Marsha, for the people to be able to unmute and then mute? So
we'll try it. If it gets out of hand, we'll just shut it down.
If it gets out of hand, I got people that can send us to California to straighten this mess out. So, all right. Oh, let's see. I think it was Carol said, Teddy, who the heck are you? And she didn't use these words. She said, what makes you so good at what you do? And so that's not the words that she used, but what she wanted to know is, how did I get into this space? I got into this space in 2007. In 2005, I took my very first sales job. And in sales, you got to meet people, you got to connect, you got to network like a wild man to find that next conversation. I was networking in real life, but I discovered that for me, I needed to meet more people. And I knew there were more people out there for me to meet. And I did not have enough time, tires, or shoe leather to do in real life networking effectively at a higher level. So I got on blogging. I started writing a blog. I did a YouTube channel. I started tweeting. Then I got on LinkedIn and Facebook. And I discovered on LinkedIn, to some degree on Facebook, that lots of the people I wanted to meet were out there. They weren't doing anything, but they were on LinkedIn. And I started experimenting. I started playing. I started practicing and experimenting more and trying stuff that nobody else was trying. And what I discovered is that everybody was teaching LinkedIn as a marketing tool, Very few were teaching it as a networking tool. And I said, here's an opportunity. My wife and I decided we were going to start our own business. I didn't exactly know what it was until that revelation came to mind. And that's what created Burriss Consulting Incorporated, the world's leading social media training company, teaching LinkedIn as a business tool. And I'm pretty purposeful about that phrase, LinkedIn as a business tool. So I've been doing it since 2009, went full-time at the end of 2010, quit my corporate job, turned in the keys to the Maserati, the keys to the hangar where the Learjet was, gave back the American Express card, and went whole hog at this. I'm having the time of my life. Another piece of me that's important to know is I am also, whatever this means, a certified career coach. I've been doing career coaching since 2007. I do it continuously on a regular basis. Every week I'm coaching people on the best practices and tactics of finding that next job. And it has nothing to do with resumes, nothing to do with interviews for the most part. I started at another level. I started at a level of who am I and who is the next person I need to talk with. So anyway, I'm going to ask the question. Do you know why you are using LinkedIn? You need to know why you're on LinkedIn. And by the way, feel free to chat. I'm monitoring the chat. Feel free to use the chat box and offer any perspective. And Murgesh dropped his LinkedIn profile URL in chat. Do that. That's worth doing. And by the way, I think that you all have, if you look at chat on the far right, where it says who can see your messages, there's 3 dots. Okay. Look for the 3 dots. I think you all have the 3 dots. And you can click on the 3 dots and you can save chat. So everybody drop your LinkedIn profile URL in there before you exit the webinar or the meeting, click the 3 dots and save the chat and you get everybody's LinkedIn profile. So good stuff. Ian dropped his in there, Carol as well. Here's the question. Do you know why you're using LinkedIn? Do you know why you're on there? And for me, I'm on there for this reason. I want to be found. I want to find. I want to connect. And I want to get into conversations with people who are relevant to my goals. I'm not on there to sell. I'm not on there to be discovered as the best thing since sliced bread. I'm on there to be found, to find, to connect with, and then get into conversation with people who are relevant to me. And Ian says to increase the odds of finding the job. And Ian, that'll happen if you increase the odds of finding the right person to get into a conversation with. Okay, yeah, LinkedIn's got a job module, works the same way as Simply Hired, Career Builders, Ladders, Monsters, and all that other stuff for the most part. It's got a few advantages, but you're going to be more likely to find that job through a conversation. Murgesh says, at first I thought I did not know, but I did know, but I do not know what I'm doing anymore. Well, that's good. It's okay. Realization is important. Samson says to find a job, the odds, you'll find a job through a connection. Okay. I'm 63 years old. Other than a test that I recently did that I won't speak about too publicly until I write the story. I've never had an interview. I've never had a background check. I've never had a resume other than ones I show as examples. I've never used a resume for a job, never been at a drug test, dummies. I've never applied for a job. Every step I've had in my life has been through a conversation with someone. Every step. And I'm on payroll at universities and colleges across North Carolina to some degree. Every opportunity came through a conversation. And not everybody is a loudmouth like me and willing to walk up to a complete stranger and hug them. But you don't have to. You just need to be willing to get in a conversation. Larry says the opportunity to interact with some of the more interesting people in the entire world. Yeah, I'm with you, Larry. Glad hugging is no longer faux pas. I'm with you. Think about it. Why are you on LinkedIn? What are you trying to achieve? And the clearer you are about your purpose, the clearer you are about your goals, the more likely you'll get there. If you're not sure, It's okay to go, look, I'm just on there to have fun, if that's the practical goal for you, and it may be, okay? One day it may be for me, because I may not be working as hard as I'm working now. So anyway, Laura says LinkedIn is a great job search opportunity. Those that post their jobs pay. Yeah, it's a whole lot of money. By the way, you can post jobs for free on LinkedIn. There's 2 ways of doing it. So, all right, here's question number 2. And Mariana says she uses it for marketing. I get that. I market through LinkedIn as well, but predominantly my goal is to find, to be found, to connect, and to get in the conversation. Here's another big question. Do you know clearly who you are and what you want to do? This is a biggie. This is a biggie. Do you clearly know who you are and what it is you want to do? And Murgesh says, yes. That's great, because you got to know that. You got to know what this widget called you is all about. You got to know what this product called you is all about, and how you want to use it. You know, there's lots of ways to use a hammer. Well, you want to use the hammer the right way. There's lots of ways to take the product called you and stick it in some environment, but you want to stick it in the right environment, doing the right thing. Otherwise, you wake up in the morning grouchy. And that word, by the way, is growth. It's not grouch. It's growth. You don't want to wake up every morning going, oh my God, do I really need to go to work? You want to wake up every morning going, oh my God, I'm going to do the thing that I want to do. And I get it. This is hard. I get it. It takes time. But I'm telling you right now, if you know what you want to do and you're willing to look for the right people to have the right conversations, you're more likely to achieve it. That's important to know. By the way, if you're clear about who you are, you should be able to say it in 17 seconds or less. How many of you are coached by career coaches to have a 60-second commercial? Stop it. Nobody wants to listen to a 60-second commercial. Now, I'm a rebel here. By the way, here's my upfront contract. I'm a rebel. And Marsha, are you helping me with chat? Okay. As a rebel, by the way, I'm a Yankee turned rebel. I moved from Maryland to North Carolina, and so I had to practice becoming a rebel, and I think I went a little over the edge. So as a rebel, I say this: screw the 60-second commercial. Nobody wants to hear that. How many of you, when the football game pauses and they go to commercial, how many of you go, oh my God, a 60-second commercial. This is great. Or do you get up and go get more pretzels? Larry, do you sit there and stare at the screen when the commercials come on? I need to see your head, dude. No, we don't. Same thing with your 60-second commercial about who you are. Nobody wants to hear it. What Ian says, we hit fast forward, and we can't do that with humans. That would be rude. You need a 17-second commercial. And a 17-second commercial is who am I? Who am I? It's not who was I. It's not where I've been. It's not how many times I stubbed my toe. It's not how I got from here to there to there to there to here. It's who am I? And when you're clear about your 17-second commercial, here's what happens. First of all, when you utter it out loud and you get goosebumps, you know daggone well you've got it right. Second thing that happens is that when you share your 17-second commercial, you either get the other person looks at you deeper and wants to know more, or they don't. And either response is okay. Because if they don't want to know about you as a forklift driver who knows how to paint trucks upside down while you hang on a coat hanger, then that's fine. You know, the next person may. So practice your 17-second commercial. Click. I'm Teddy Burriss. I'm a LinkedIn strategist. My purpose is to help business professionals in all types of industries and all types of roles master the use of LinkedIn for their purpose and their goal, period. Those who are interested say, tell me more. Those who are not go, where's the cheese dip? And either response is okay. Too often, we want them all to respond with, oh my God, tell me more. And you don't want that. By the way, I'm glad this is recorded. This is the first time I've said this bluntly. I may snip this out and use it. Know who you are. Have your 17-second commercial. You want to engage the listener to ask questions. It should be natural roll off your tongue. I can get you to know. I can get you to wow. Yeah, maybe the right people go to wow. The other ones don't, and I'm okay with that. Yeah. You don't want everyone to like you. You want the right people to like you. Yes, Carol. Convincing storytelling. Yeah, read the book. Oh, I don't have it on the shelf. Yes, I do. Read this book. Designing Your Life. Read this book. And my camera is working better. Yes, I fine-tuned it yesterday. Point 3. Do you know your target audience? Do you know who is the human in the role, in the industry, maybe in the region that is important to your goal? We repeat, know who your target audience is. Who is the human in the role, in the industry, maybe in the region, maybe in the company that's important to your goal? Somebody drop who is your target audience? Use the chat and drop who is your target audience. While you're doing that, while you're sharing who your target audience is, let me share with you who my target audience is. My target audience is a sales leader who has 50 plus salespeople. That's my target audience. It's not the only person I will talk with, but it is my target audience. So you need to be clear about that. And my target audience is someone who has a need to solve a problem that I think I know how to solve. No, wrong words, Teddy. It's a human in a role who has a problem that I'm pretty sure I can help them resolve. How many? Yeah. Someone who isn't happily employed. Good stuff, Marcia. Yeah. Data analyst. Now, I don't know. Do data analysts hire you? Hang tight. I think that's their technical project managers, maybe the hiring manager. Yeah. Here, I'm glad nobody dropped these words. It is not the human resources department. They are not your target audience. They are a part of the process. But they are not the person who has the problem that needs to be solved unless they're looking to hire in the HR department. So you need to be clear about who is the human in the role, in the industry, in the region, maybe in the company that has a need for what you have to offer. Target audience, those involved in enforcing meeting sustainability standards. Yeah, Larry, those who have the wherewithal to bring you to the table. Might be the CEO. Might be the chief operating officer, might be a departmental head. I don't know, but you really got to work on this. Get a whiteboard, get a huge piece of paper, get yourself a crayon, get yourself chalk on the sidewalk and start writing titles. Just start scribbling titles and start all around each other. Just start writing titles. And in time, what you're going to discover is, oh my God, I've been looking at the wrong thing. The target audience is this. I thought my target audience was salespeople. I'm going to use demeaning words against myself. Dummy. My target audience is not a sales guy. He can't hire me. His boss can. His boss can. So for me, it's a sales leader. It's a business owner who is responsible for leading the sales team to create success. Like, Lord, I wasted so much time focused on salespeople. Hey, let's move to point number 4. While you're working on who your target audience is, here's the next thing you need to work on. Who are their influencers? Who are the influencers for your target audience? Too often we think LinkedIn, I got to find my target audience on LinkedIn. Well, maybe your target audience isn't on LinkedIn. Murgesh is in the film industry. Well, maybe the film producers ain't using LinkedIn. But maybe the key grip is, maybe a producer is. So you look for who is, Ian says they're on TikTok. Look for the influencer who can introduce you to the target audience. This is and I was at Mariana. I was playing with Mariana earlier in a conversation that, introductions is powerful. We're going to talk about this in a little bit. Introductions are powerful. How do you get introductions? You meet the influencer. It's time to switch to coffee. Time to switch to water. Marsha, I'm too wired. I got to stop drinking coffee. I'm never too wired. You need to know who the influencers are. For me, an influencer, inside sales, field sales, sales trainer, sales admin, account exec, customer service person. You've got to know who the influencers are. So, because the influencers are people who can introduce you to your target audience. Hey, you want another perspective? Look at this. Housewife or house husband, barista at a Starbucks, where that sales team that works for that big company show up every Monday morning and have their sales meeting. Son or daughter, girlfriend, boyfriend. Look, influencers are all of us. Every one of you is an influencer to someone, including Randall, who's like doing this. Were you about ready to fall? I hope you're okay, man. Think about it. Every single one of us knows somebody who needs to meet one of the rest of us. And this is one of the reasons why you have to keep growing your LinkedIn network. Because the more you grow your LinkedIn network, go ahead, Randall.
I had to turn the lights back on.
Oh, your lights went to sleep. My daughter wants me to get a, one of those microphones you talk to, and Siri or Alexa. Hey, Alexa, turn the lights on. I don't want that kind of technology. I don't think. But think about who the influencers are. Dean, I'm with you. Some people don't want to connect with too many people. But Dean, I'm telling you right now, the more purposeful you are at connecting with people who play in the sandbox you want to play in, maybe those who play with the toys you want to play with, the more successful you're going to be. You've got to look. I'm not telling you to connect with every Tom, Dick, Harry, Marsha, Randall, Becky, Laura, Samson, Larry, Mariana on LinkedIn. I'm recommending that you connect with people who are highly relevant to your career goals or your business goals. And it's not just about connecting. We'll talk about that in a minute. Very purposeful. I use the phrase purposeful networking. And the more you do it, the more successful you're going to be. Anybody have a experience with influencers, connecting with someone who introduced you to someone like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever? It could be your wife or your boyfriend. Randall?
You bet.
You want to share?
I had a colleague that I knew from church for a number of years. And when I was looking for a new position, he said, why don't you come over and lead our infrastructure at my new company?
Yeah. Yeah. Carol, do you want to share? Unmute yourself.
I was at a social barbecue, not thinking about networking at all, and I ended up meeting the ex-husband of the secretary for the department I was interviewing for. And he's like, oh gosh, you have to talk to her. So I talked with her, and secretaries know everything. I got all the scuttlebutt. She encouraged me to ask for more money. She knew all the pressure points. It was incredible. So you never know where the networking is going to happen.
Anybody else got a story of connecting with someone who introduced you to someone else? Murgesh, unmute yourself. There you go.
I got introduced onto a project where I ended up meeting a handful of actors who were still coming up, and all of them are still in touch with me and have tried connecting me to producers that they're working with.
Yeah, it happened. And Laura said it happened once, but it's rare. So I'm going to talk about this in a few minutes. I'm going to give you some ideas of how to make it not so rare. Because if you just wait, then it may happen rarely, but you don't have to wait. I'm trying to figure out a good catchphrase to call this. There's organic referrals where you just like, okay, it's going to happen one day. Oh, is that one? No, that's not one. I'm going to wait a little longer. But there's also influenced introductions. Yes, I like serendipity. And yes, Ian, you've got to be willing to get out of your comfort zone a little bit, but I can help make this a little less painful, okay, as you practice. Let's talk about bullet point number 5. Tactics that you can use to connect with the people who can move you forward. You ready? Here's where you need a pen. You need a pen, you need a piece of paper. We're also recording this, and the time right now is 1:24. So unfortunately, I don't see the clock on the screen, so I can't relate to that. Often when I do live sessions, I have my clock playing in the upper left-hand corner, and I'm doing screen share, and I say it's 1:24, and people can fast forward to 1:24. About 42 minutes in. Thanks, Ian. So here's 4 tactics that you can use to connect with people who can move you forward in your business, your career, your life, or your community. Okay. Number 1. Well, even before I get into these 4, look, everybody put your LinkedIn profile URL in this chat box, and every single one of you needs to be connected on LinkedIn. And if you don't make that happen in the next 2 weeks, I will hunt you down in your sleep and make you miserable. Because that's step 1. Larry's like, please don't. You've got to connect with the people you meet in real life. And this is as in real life as you can be right now. So that's an extra bullet point. You need to be doing this. And Dean, believe me, these are good people, man. You can accept their connect request or send them one. They're all good people. A Carol lady I'm a little concerned about. But anyway, number 1, if you know them, send them an invitation on LinkedIn to connect. Oh my God, Bill, good to meet you, man. I had fun at that. You listen to that loudmouth presenter. That dude was off the charts. Please join me on LinkedIn. Send. Every time you connect with people on LinkedIn, you send a personal note. No ifs, ands, or buts about that ever. And every time you meet somebody in real life, if they're relevant to you in your career, your business, your community, your life, relevant to you in your life, my baristas at Starbucks who hooked me up with the sales leader, connect with them on LinkedIn. By the way, you can only send 20 invites a day, so spread these out. You can maximum 100 a week, but that's okay. It's not a race, it's a journey. Number 2, if I want to connect with this dude named Bill, Bill, is it Tedder or Teeter?
Teeter.
Bill Teeter. Are you with L3 Linkabit? Are you in San Diego, Bill?
No,
Are you on LinkedIn?
no,
Marcia, you told me this wasn't going to happen.
right.
All right. So, Bill, I've got to move on to someone else because I can't use you as an example. But if I want to connect with this lady named Carol, where's Carol? If I want to connect with this lady named Carol Cobb,
Yeah.
I am not sending her a LinkedIn invite. Now, I may because we just met. And I think she giggled with me. So she's willing to say, hey, this Teddy dude ain't so bad. But if I want to connect with Carol, you know what the best way for me to connect with her? Look and see who our mutual connections are. And I'll send Hamed, Marcia, Jim, Sandra, Stephen, Ian, or Mara a message. Listen to these words. I will send a mutual connection that we have. You can clearly see that when you look at her profile, second level connections. Or mutual connections. I'll send somebody a message that I know who I believe knows Carol. And I say, hey, Ian, do you know this Carol lady? Do you think she's the right person for me to connect with and have a conversation? Listen to the words. Ian, do you know this Carol lady? I might use more polite words. Do you think she's the right person for me to connect with? Because I'd like to have a conversation with her about her business she's in. And then if so, this is an email message. If so, Ian, will you do me a big favor, buddy? Send her, forward her this email. I'm going to write it so I can forward it, so he can forward it. Copy me on the message and introduce me to her so I can connect on LinkedIn and potentially have a conversation. This is powerful. This is powerful. Mariana, this is how you do it. I think Mariana earlier said, you know, in our earlier conversation, I've not done the friends of friends thing on LinkedIn. Do not wait. Do not wait. Your job is to get a conversation with the right person to move you forward. Do not wait. Ask for introductions. And if you're asking someone you have a relationship with to whatever degree, and I think Ian and I have a good enough relationship for me to ask for introductions. Ian, a nod, please, please, buddy, please. Oh, I think he's saying yes. I can't tell. I think I have a decent enough relationship with Marcia and Ian to ask for an introduction because all I'm after is an introduction for a conversation. I do not want him to go, oh my God, you need to meet Teddy Burriss. He's the best thing since whatever, but he can solve all your problems. You need to have a conversation. You need to bring out your American Express. I'm only asking for an introduction. Now, is there anybody on this screen right now or on this call, 31,000 people on this call, is there anyone on this call who would not introduce a friend to another friend? If I see a hand come up, I'm going to block you. Think about it. So if you're willing to introduce a friend to another friend, then be willing to ask another friend for an introduction. And by the way, it's called networking for mutual benefit. Be willing to do it for others like that. Be willing to do it for others immediately with no hesitation. Her name is Wendy Schoen. Wendy Schoen is a lawyer in New York. I've never met Wendy Schoen, but every week she shows up on a Zoom call like this and we laugh, we have fun, we learn, we share, we help each other. The other day, Wendy said, oh my God, Teddy, what can I do to help you? I said, Wendy, I said, you're in the legal industry. I'd love to meet some law firms. She goes, Teddy, I have 4 of the biggest clients in New York City. Huge matrimonial and family law. Matrimonial, you know, that's divorce attorneys. Matrimonial and family law. And I said, Marcia, I'm Wendy. I said, Wendy, I would love to meet any one of those. She said, I'll make it happen. She sent 4 emails out to 4 different law firms. Introduced me to the partners, the key partners. I've got 2 conversations scheduled with the biggest freaking law firms in New York City. Because I met someone and we got to know each other and we were willing to help each other. Do not wait for someone to knock on your door. Be willing to help others so you can ask for help.
Sunny asks, what happens if there are not mutual connections?
Move on to the next person. Move on to the next conversation and keep growing your network, Sonny. Yeah, I'm sorry. Thank you for catching that for me, Marcia. Yeah, you can't make it happen with everybody. And this is why you have part of my career coaching is you need to have 40 companies you're targeting. So you're working on these 40 companies, you're looking for people who know people there. And maybe you get introduced to the receptionist and you get to know Laura. And Laura's a cool lady and she's fun and she likes you and she says, oh my God, I'm going to introduce you to the president of the company. I think you and him would hit it off well. Cool. One of my all-time favorite clients. And every time I walk in that office to see the company, I haven't done it in a while, but every time I walk in that company, to see the president or his sales team, I stop and I give her a hug. Sometimes it's virtual. Sometimes it's by bringing her a cup of coffee or a donut. This is the best way I can help her. She's not looking for an introduction, but her kids might be one day. If you want to help someone in a meaningful way, so they're willing to help you, help them personally. Tactics for connecting with people. If you know them, send them an invite. If you don't know them, ask for an introduction. Here's another one. Here's option number 3 for connecting with people. If you don't know somebody, you don't know them, and you really want to have a conversation with them, look for their content on LinkedIn. Look for stuff they shared. Look for their name in the company page. Look for somebody sharing content that tagged them. Look for some content on LinkedIn where they are either they shared it or they're mentioned. This is called bumping into people. And if you want to bump into someone, then read the content, understand what the conversation is all about, and then engage on it in some meaningful way. If it's their content, they're going to get a notification that you showed up and engaged in their stuff. If you engage in some meaningful way relevant to them, not all about you, well, I'm the best thing since sliced bread, then they're going to, a little bit of trust, a little bit of respect is going to come out of that very simple engagement. So you can engage with them in a meaningful way and then wait for them to respond. And then you can follow up with, hey, Randall, dude, that was a really good article you shared. I appreciate it. Thought I'd send you an invite to connect. Please join me on LinkedIn. Bump into people on LinkedIn. Purposefully, relevantly, transparently, honestly, sincerely, all those Lee words, but never selfishly. Don't hijack a conversation. Oh, I do that too. I'd love to talk with you about how I can get hired to do that for you. It won't work. Bump into them. Have any of you ever engaged on content on LinkedIn that led to a conversation? Sig's doing this. I don't know if he's, yeah. Sig, can you share? You got a specific you want to share? Bottom right, left-hand corner, bottom left-hand corner, mute. There you go. Nope, do it again. There you go.
Okay, double clicking too much. Oh, so one guy was commenting on the semiconductor chip shortage, and pretty bigwig kind of guy. And I made some comments and asked some questions, and then had a little conversation going with him. And he does follow me now. And we have a connection with him on LinkedIn. He hasn't hired me yet, but we're working on that.
Yeah. By the way, followers are important. You need to pay attention. Make sure you turn following on and pay attention to who's following you. You look back and see who's following you, and there's a lot of weird people, but there's a lot of people who are relevant because they just weren't comfortable to hit that connect button yet.
Right.
So pay attention to who's following you. Anybody else got a story of Marcia?
I had a client who was following her ideal employer on Twitter and made a very thoughtful response to one of his tweets. And he reached out to her and said, hey, you sound like the kind of person we want to hire. Would you interview for this position?
Bam, bam. John, you have a story, buddy? Bottom left-hand corner, unmute. You got to unmute. I heard him say, yeah, see
it. Got it. Different, sorry. I usually do top right. Anyway, yeah, you know, it was interesting. The CEO of a company called Insights, Adaptive Insights wrote an article, and I couldn't find his email, so I found the CFO's email. And I asked the CFO to forward my brief note saying, great article, fabulous. I like the company, and I just wanted to let you know. And the CFO wrote actually one liner back and said, I forwarded to so-and-so. Thank you very much for your comment.
Yeah. You know, all of those don't take you where you want to go, but you never know which one will. You never know which, and never feel ill. I mean, I got a client, a company I've been targeting for 5 years. I know the CEO, okay? We've had beer and cigars together, but it's not his responsibility to do the work that I want to do with him. So he's forwarded my email twice to the person who is responsible, and it hasn't moved forward. I will still go have a beer and a cigar with that guy. I'm never going to think ill of somebody if it doesn't happen the way I want. Okay. You'll find your followers. I can't remember if you go to your activity page on the left-hand side, it'll say followers. If you're not enabled followers, it's under settings. I don't want to go too deep into that, but I can send me a message. I can show you, Laura. Murgesh says, could using bumping in the tactic be used in a different way of connecting to people? There are no mutual connections. Abso-freaking-lutely. That's the whole purpose of that. I don't have a connection, so I'm going to have to look. This is the new style of hiding behind a ficus bush in the lobby. You can't do that anymore, but I can bump into them on their content. Do it sincerely. Do it honestly. But this is important. This really is important. And I do it on a regular basis, but I do it sincerely, focus on the right people, and you never know where the conversation is going to go. And no, I'm not a wallflower. All right. Here's one more before we break out.
Here's one more idea from that. I have a friend who cold called for a living, and he said if he didn't have a connection to somebody he wanted to reach out to on LinkedIn, but he had a second level, he would reach out to everybody he had a second level with and say, looks like we have a friend in common. I'd like to be part of your LinkedIn network. And he said on average, 40-50% of them would just say yes with nothing more than that. And then he could have a deeper conversation.
Listen to Marsha's words, then move to a deeper conversation. Okay, absolutely got to do that. And the deeper conversation can be in the context of what you're able to do, but it needs to be something. Otherwise it's a waste of time. Here's another one. So here's the 4 tips I dropped on you is how to connect with people. If you know them, send them an invite. If you don't know them, look for someone that knows them that can introduce you to them. If you don't have a mutual connection, look for their content, engage in their content. Here's the 4th thing. Look for them outside of LinkedIn. This is the ficus tree story. No, it's not. Look for them outside of LinkedIn. Maybe they have a blog and you can engage on the blog. Maybe they're on Twitter. Maybe they have a business page on Facebook and they've been mentioning that. Maybe they've been on a podcast. Maybe they've been interviewed by CNN in some positive way that's worth to engage on. If they've been interviewed because they were stealing from the company, please don't engage on that. It won't help you. Find some way to engage with them in some other platform. And then you never know. And by the way, you can find an article, find a YouTube video, find a podcast, find an interview, find an article in the newspaper, the Wall Street Journal, the HBR, and you can get the URL of that and find their email address and send them an email and go, oh my God, Larry, I just saw the coolest article ever about you and your business, man. And I really thought it was pretty interesting. I just want to let you know I saw it and I like what I saw and I like your business. And that's all I want to say. Thanks a lot. Take care. Look, all you're about with connecting is one thing. Does anybody know what the goal is of connecting? I need one word. Drop it in chat. One word. What is the goal of sending an invite? What is the goal of sending a LinkedIn invite? One more. You're all heading in the right direction. You started out with the right words. It is to connect, nothing more. It's just to freaking connect. Look, I'm standing between the window. I'm good. Usually I'm flopping my arms all outside the screen. That's all your goal is to connect. Everything else comes after the connection. Everything else. And it is not to sell. It's not to show your value. It's to connect. Everything else comes after the connection. And you really don't even have to connect. Maybe you get a conversation outside of LinkedIn. Heck, I don't need LinkedIn. If the dude needs me and wants to talk with me at a bar, I'm gonna go to the breakfast bar and have a conversation with him. I just changed up my style a little bit there, Marcia. I don't care where I have a conversation with this person. Often it may start in LinkedIn, but it doesn't have to. I use LinkedIn to find the people, and I find the people who know the people and find ways to get introduced to them and get in their conversation. I don't care where the conversation happens, as long as it happens. All right, Marcia, can we break the group up? And give me one moment to position this. Can we break the group up into groups of 5, which means basically everybody, wait a minute, you won't go out. So that'll be 25. Can we do 5 rooms? 5 rooms, which would give us about 5 people in a room. Can you do that? And then here's what I want to do. Not yet, but here's what I want to do. I would like for you to all go into these 5 rooms and somebody go, all right, tell me what you're doing. What do you do after you connect on LinkedIn? That's the question I want you to talk about. What do you do after you connect on LinkedIn? That is the big question. I want you to share ideas in the group, and then we come back and we'll talk about a little more. Marcia, can we do this for 5 minutes? 5 minutes. Go ahead. I'll see you guys all in a few minutes. Get out of here. Marcia, while they're all in there, I'm going for another 15 minutes roughly, right, total?
Correct.
Okay, good. I'm on task to wrap up in 15 minutes. Actually, in 10 minutes, when they come back in 5, I got 10. I'm good. Bill's resisting.
Sorry, I let you down, Teddy. I'm
No worries, buddy.
tired. No reason for LinkedIn.
No worries at all, man. You're not letting me down. It's all about purpose and goal. I'm with you. Yeah. Are you retired?
I owned the stock in LinkedIn and made a lot of money when it merged.
I get you.
Yes.
Yeah,
Long-
I'm with you.
long
I'm with you.
retired.
Yeah, and I'm glad you bought my
Bill is
stock when I
older than
sold it.
Bill is older than he looks.
I'm glad you bought my stock when I sold it, Bill. People often ask me if I work for LinkedIn all the time. Where do you hang out, Bill?
Sunnyvale.
Okay.
The reason I'm on here is that I'm coaching people who have financial difficulties during their job search. So that's the reason I hang out here on Saturday mornings.
Good. It's
And he's
important.
really good at it.
Yeah, it's tough for a lot of people. I see it all the time, and all I can do is touch the surface of ideas in that world because that's not my specialty. Do you have family in Sunnyvale around you, Bill?
Oh yes, all kinds of family, grandkids, kids living at home, all the above.
I have 12 grandkids, 4 daughters, and 4 son-in-laws.
Terrific.
And they call. What's your grandfather name? What is your grandfather name?
Oh, I'm just grandpa to all of them. An example of what you were talking about was that I was talking to a neighbor across the street decades ago, and he said, "What do you do?" And I had about a 17-second speech, and he said, "The head of contracts at Northrop Grumman, where I work, is in desperate need right now." And so when he connected us, I just said, "How can I help you right now? Let's just plug me in. I'm an experienced veteran with that. I'll help you with your need." And
Good.
25 years later, I retired with pension.
Get to the point. What do you have a problem with? Can I help you, or can I introduce you to someone who can help you? Yeah. By the way, Bill, don't refer to yourself as just Grandpa. You are Grandpa.
Well, I didn't like all those little cuddly names they try to give.
Well, I'm Bob.
Didn't want to be a DD, Grandpa DD or something like that.
I'm Boppy, B-O-P-P-Y, and I've been Boppy for 18 years. My wife is Bum, B-U-M.
I'm Mushka.
Yeah, I remember this. Yes. Yeah. All right.
They've been given their 1-minute warning.
Yeah. And Boppy and Bum and Boppy are going to Cancun on Monday with 4 of the grandkids.
Nice. How old are the oldest ones?
18. Graduate from high school with an associate's degree, going to UNC Chapel Hill in the fall. 18 years old, graduated high school and her associate's degree, and a year earlier than she was supposed to.
All right, people be coming back now, and they'll all be back in about 10 seconds.
Whether they like it or not, because you had the button.
That's right. All right, everybody's back.
All right, the question was, what do you do after you connect? Will somebody from each group share the most profound action that you heard? Somebody share the most profound action that you heard that they do, that somebody else does after they connect. Go ahead, Laura. Bottom left-hand corner, unmute. Oop, unmute.
Hey.
Do you have to give them unmute ability?
Yeah, we have to approve it. Who's asking? Can you raise your hand so I can see you?
Laura Pacetto and Becky.
Okay, I'll go because I'm unmuted. I think in our group, what was clearest, I don't know if I would say profound, but what is to send a thank you note and to say how delighted we are to be part of that person's network, and then to offer to be of help in any way to that person that we've just connected with.
Cool. I like that one. Laura?
Simple and professional.
Yep. Laura Pacetto, can you unmute yet?
There we go. Hello.
What's the most one profound thing that you heard that someone does?
Okay, I totally missed what Becky said because I was playing around with my mute, so I hope I don't repeat. Is just after you connect with somebody, is find something you have in common, if it's a group or an interest or something like that, and just start building rapport.
Okay. Give me one more. Somebody else, another breakout. What did you hear that was really interesting? Or did you guys go talk about pastrami sandwiches? Anybody else? Randall?
Another thing we said was stay in touch on a regular basis.
All right, here we go. I'm going to blow your minds. I'm going to blow every single one of you and your minds. Are you ready? None of that's right. It's close. There's nothing wrong with it. But I'm going to tell you the most powerful thing you can do. If the person you just connected with is highly relevant to your career goals, you just connected with someone who's relevant to your career goals. Let's assume that there's 3 steps. If they are highly relevant to your career goals, do not send them a LinkedIn note. Pick up this old antiquated device called a cell phone and call them. Call them and make the conversation all about them. Most people will not do this. If you want to be a little different, a little better than everybody else, when you connect with your target audience, your ideal conversation person, someone who has the ability to open a door to bring you in for a deeper conversation, call them and say hello. And if you don't have their phone number, Larry, here's step 2. If you don't have their phone number, look for their business email address and send them a business email message and say, dude, use more proper words than this. I really appreciate you connecting with me on LinkedIn. Been doing research on your organization, tracking what you guys are doing. Thought it was a really interesting company, and I just thought I would say hello and thank you for the connection. If at any point we could ever have a conversation, I'm always open to talking with the people I connect with on LinkedIn. If you can't find their phone number, you can't find their business email address, and you want to be a little different, a little better than everybody else, pick up this antiquated device called a cell phone, go to the LinkedIn app and send them a video message. 30 seconds. Hey, Randall, man, thanks a lot. And be more professional than I am right now. Randall, I just thought I'd say hello and thank you for the LinkedIn connection. Look, I've been following your company and I've really enjoyed learning a little bit more about your company and you. If at any point we could ever have a conversation about your business and what you guys are doing, I'd love a chat because I just don't connect. Take care. Have a fantastic week. Bye. Be a little, maybe you'll use different words, but do not do what everybody else does, which is send a note to say, thanks for the connection. I really appreciate it. That is too simple. If they're your target audience, your goal is to try to invite them to a conversation. If you don't have, and by the way, if they're not your target audience, maybe they're your influencers. So you could say, send an influencer message, say, Samson, thanks a lot for LinkedIn connection. Look, you know, I really appreciate it. I'm doing research all around your industry. There are a couple companies out there I'm looking to get connected to. I'd love one day to have a conversation with you. Maybe you know somebody that I need to know. Let me know if you're willing to have that conversation. Is everybody? No. Are lots of people? Yes. If you don't ask, my note over here said, if you don't ask, the answer is no. And there's nothing wrong with asking as long as you're also willing to give. You've got to be willing to give. You've got to be willing to help others. And it works. That's my last bullet point. You have to be willing to help others. And I'm going to tell every one of you right now, except for Bill, and I'm joking with Bill because Bill's not on LinkedIn. I'm going to tell every single one of you right now the same thing I tell everybody else I meet in life. Robert, if there's someone that you need to have a conversation with and you discover that I may know them, all you have to do is send me a LinkedIn message or an email and say, Teddy, I see you know this lady named Charisse. Do you know her well? Do you think she is someone I should have a conversation with regarding XYZ? If so, would you do me a huge favor? Would you send Charisse an email, copy me on the message, and introduce me to her? I am happy to introduce anybody who I can, when possible, where relevant, for a conversation. Yesterday, I was coaching a veteran out of San Diego, as a matter of fact. I was coaching a veteran in Veterati, and the dude said, I'm trying to meet people who are in, I can't remember the 3 spaces, learning and development. I'm trying to meet people, and I can't remember what my notes were. And while we were talking, I sent 3 messages out to 3 people for this guy. All 3 of them responded and said, I'd love to have a conversation with him. Humans want to help other humans. Be a human, willing to help another human. And I can promise you, call it whatever you want to call it, life, God, karma. It'll come back to you.
Hey, Teddy, Charisse has a question for you.
Okay. Go ahead, Charisse.
Hi, thanks for this is fun. I was thinking.
Oh, I wasn't supposed to make it fun. I'm sorry.
Well, it's fun hearing about you say give people a call, and it made me realize like I probably wouldn't feel comfortable giving people a call, but it might be tied to me not exactly knowing who my target audience is. Like, who are the people I would consider worth giving a call? Because a lot of times I'm connecting just because we have similar interests, or, you know, they said something interesting, but that's not necessarily enough for me to want to give them a call. What am I calling them for? You know, like, I don't necessarily have something to, you know, I'm not giving them something in particular, you know, I'm not asking for something in particular. So that made me wonder, like, how do you begin to identify what your target audience is? Like, usually an audience, you have something like a message you want to give, or, you know, something in particular you're trying to connect around. So how do you begin to do that? Thank you.
I did not plant Charisse for this conversation. I have a bullet point that I didn't talk about. I got a moment I can talk about it. Bullet point number 7 that I skipped, but I'm going to bring it into the conversation because it helps answer Sharice's question. I'm hoping that all of you know who Dale Carnegie is. If you do not know who Dale Carnegie is, turn your camera off and run away right now, because no, go figure out who Dale Carnegie is. Dale Carnegie has a little golden book. In it, there are 30 principles. Not the top 9 will help Sharice with this question. Here they are. The top 9, and I'll share this with anybody later on. Don't worry about writing them all down. Number 1, never criticize, condemn, or complain. Ever, 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 ever. Number 2, give honest, sincere appreciation. The dude just connected with you. Let him know, look, I really appreciate connecting with you. Number 3, arouse in the other person an eager want. I often call that, give them an opportunity to peel back the layers and speak a little bit more. Number 4, be generally interested in what they share. Listen to Sharice when she is talking to you, Teddy. Listen to her words and how she says it. Number 5, smile. Because a smile can be seen through a screen, it can be seen in real life, it can be seen in the words you share. Number 6, remember that Sharice, to her, her name is the most important sound in any language or written in any font. Do not misspell Robert Crockett's name. Number 7, be a good listener. This fails. Be a good listener. Number 8, talk in terms of Sig's interest. Talk in terms of what's important to Samson. Don't go in some other world that's not important to them. And number 9, make the other person feel important. When you practice these and experiment with these principles, Sharice, you'll figure out what to do when you call someone. And probably the most important thing you can do is ask an open-ended question. And you know how you get good at this? Practice. Practice with your dog, your cat, your gerbil, your hamster. Practice with your wife, your kids. Practice, just practice, and it'll freak people out. What the heck is wrong with you? You know what's wrong with you? If people freak out when you ask open-ended questions, they're not used to you doing that. And this is the most powerful way to build rapport, to build trust, to build respect, to build life. So that, Marcia, this is what I wanted to drop on everybody today. I didn't want to go into LinkedIn and drop a whole bunch of, tactical things. I want you to understand philosophically how to do this. Philosophically, how to find the right people that you need to find, how to get introduced to them, connect with them, get into a conversation with them. And I can promise you, if you practice this, it gets easier. Thank you for letting me share. Marcia, back to you.
Thank you so much. Big round of applause for those of you who are unmuted. Great appreciation for all of the wisdom, because you're right. We got to be in the right headspace to do the reaching out, to make those connections. And you just demystified that process. Thank you so much.